What up, what up, what up? What up, my wrestling peeps? It's your boy E here from the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, presented to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be covering a little bit of AEW review, a little bit of Thursday Night Wrestling, including Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor. And we also have a little Matt Riddle news and yeah, just all the above. So just get ready for a top tier wrestling show. First and foremost, I want to remind you guys that we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions right on top so I can see it. We can have a nice little back and forth conversation. And I don't know, really helps the show. Leave a positive feedback, positive review. We love peace, love, and positivity. Again, the link is the gsmcpodcast.net. So let's go ahead and get on into it. All right. So, first and foremost, we have an AEW Dynamite review. The show, all in all, I thought was pretty good. Although I did do some research about, on the ratings and stuff like that, and it actually didn't do quite well as as they expect. But I thought it was a good show. As a wrestling fan, I really liked it. So it kicked off with Will Ospreay fighting Shibata. This was a nice back and forth match. The match took a pretty long time. That just shows that both these wrestlers are very, very talented. They both have skills they want to showcase to the public, just in case they are in hunt for like contracts and stuff like that. But I don't know. It was very compelling. Like Shibata himself, like I know the main match was kind of circled around Will Ospreay because Ospreay has a match with Brian Danielson in at AEW Dynasty. But I don't know. Shibata he hung in there. It was a pretty good back and forth match. No one was really able to get the upper hand. So I don't know. I think I think that's pretty cool. I think it's a bright future for both of the competitors, to be honest. Like, I know this match was kind of just to showcase how Will Ospreay and Brian Danielson's gonna have a really, really good match. I keep saying that. I want to keep calling him Daniel Bryan. I'm sorry. That's the WWE in me, ladies and gentlemen. But I just think that both of these competitors really showed what they had, and both of them have some pretty bright futures coming up in the near, in their wrestling careers. But overall, Osprey picked up the victory, which we all expected. Next, we want to talk about the tag team tournament first round, where the Young Bucks, as I predicted, defeated Private Party, and it was a tag team match. That's all I can really say. The Young Bucks were expected to win. I know I expected them to win. It was just the fact that Private Party won 4 years ago, and so then you kind of thought it was going to be more of a like a shocking finish, kind of like I don't know, kind of you want to be shocked as a wrestling fan, but that just goes to show that your match 4 years ago was obviously a fluke because he, the Young Bucks kind of took care of business here, kind of stating their claim as one of the huge, the head of the tag team division here in AEW. But with with the EVP they have going on with the new, AEW Continental Champion, Okada, I can see the Young Bucks winning the AEW World Tag Titles just to kind of build that that no, I don't want to say community, like just to kind of build that like that faction. That because right now they are EVPs. Right now they are taking care of AEW. They recently let go of Hangman Allen Page and my man. But what can you say? This is what wrestling is. This is storylines and stuff like that. Kenny Omega, he's obviously been a generational talent for the longest time, and it was crazy to see. I saw an article, and this is kind of offset, but he called Kurt Angle the GOAT. And I can't help but to agree with him. I can't help but to agree with Kenny Omega because Kurt Angle was an Olympic gold medalist. He was very good in the ring. He was very good protecting other wrestlers in terms of like maneuvers and other stuff like that. And he was also pretty good on the mic. He wasn't afraid to quote unquote like talk trash about himself. Like, you know what I mean? Like he didn't really have a stick up his butt. Like, wrestling is a cutthroat industry where these guys are like constantly for attention. That's what they're fighting for, is for the fans, for WWE officials and higher ups to kind of see their talent and kind of use that as a way to get either like a bigger and a better contract, just something stable. You know what I mean? As a wrestler, life I can imagine could be pretty hard. Um, next, they had a backstage promo between Hook and Chris Jericho, and it kind of went the way I thought it was gonna go, where Chris Jericho gave him a fist bump, and he's like, "Hey man, out there, you totally kicked my ass. I see, a bright future within you. Can I be your mentor?" And Hook kind of looked at him. He was like, "Yeah, you're Chris Jericho. But then again, at the end of the day, you're Chris Jericho." And Chris Jericho has had, a bad reputation of turning on his tag team partners, turning on his fellow comrades. And it's just, if you're Hook, I would have never did it. I would have never had Chris Jericho by your side, because now you kind of have to have your eyes peeked behind your head. Nobody wants to be that guy, especially at Chris Jericho's age, that gets beat up by the young guy. I know that he's portraying this character as if it's all cool and you earn my respect, but deep down inside, I can imagine it's just completely boiling him up right now. Absolutely boiling him up right now. Chris Jericho, he's pissed off. He's getting ready to strike. Lord only knows when it's going to happen. Hopefully, it doesn't happen at Dynasty, which will cost Hook the championship. Or maybe he'll challenge Hook for the championship at Dynasty, but, that's pretty dire, because the pay-per-view is next month. So that's going to be, good booking if they want to make that match happen. To be honest, right now, it kind of seems like that's one of the only options for the FTW championship in AEW. So that could be a good one. Next, I have a Willow of Nightingale defeats Anna Jay, Chris Statlander, and Sky Blue in a fatal four-way match to determine the number one contendership for the TBS Championship. Julia Hart was waiting on pins and needles, because let's just face it, like, every single chance she's gotten to beat up Willow, she has. Like, she's obviously afraid of her competition. She was hoping Sky Blue would probably get the job done, so she could, just lay down and like have an easy title defense in terms of like Julia Hart. But Willow, she was able to pull out the victory. It was very impressive. Out of all those individuals, I kind of thought that she was going to, from not like talent based, of course. You know what I mean? These women are very, very talented. But just because it builds on that, it kind of builds on that tension that kind of the CEO has with Willow. That the last match the CEO was in, Willow pushed her off the top turnbuckle. She fell down onto the bottom and that's how her foot got broken. And still to this day, recently she said in an interview that she wasn't sure if Willow did that on purpose or not. That kind of just builds up that tension. Like, that kind of just like, I don't know. If I heard that from an opponent, especially like a coworker, be like, dude, that could make me mad. So, I don't know, a triple threat match and looming in the future would be pretty darn cool, despite the fact that Mercedes Moné hasn't really fought in a match and really hasn't earned a shot at the TBS Championship. But like I said, the pay-per-views next month. Maybe they're going to do some bookings to the point where maybe they are going to have a nice little triple threat match. It would be entertaining as hell, to be honest. Anyways, so post-match, Julia Hart came out, attacked Willow, and she had to stare down with the CEO, Mercedes Moné, and basically foreshadowing how in the future there's probably going to be a match between Julia Hart and Mercedes. And I hope that doesn't really tell much of, like, what's going to happen on AEW Dynasty, because I'm kind of looking forward to that Willow match, because she puts on good matches. And I just hope that doesn't mean like, oh, since Mercedes Moné's here, now we don't have to give a crap about Willow, who's been busting her ass since day one. So they're like, okay, now we have a true championship match. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not what's happening. For me, and personally, I would honestly love to see a triple threat match. But, only time will tell. Like I said, the pay-per-view is next month. If I was part of the Tony Khan AEW creative clan, I would be writing something to like connect the dots and kind of connect these three amazing female superstars and I don't know, just kind of make this happen, make it happen. Um, okay, moving on. So we also have the tag team tournament first round. The second match was Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta versus the Undisputed Kingdom. Just surprisingly, I thought the Undisputed Kingdom was going to win, just because you had the Ring of Honor tag team champions kind of representing your clan, and the fact that they didn't win, I was like, wow, that's crazy. You have these guys that have had so much momentum, and they teamed in Ring of Honor before, but I don't know if they're able to defeat the Ring of Honor tag team champions to further themselves in this AEW World Tag Team Title tournament. I think if you're in Ring of Honor, and if these guys don't make it to the finals, meaning Cassidy and Beretta, you should have them fight at Supercard or something like that. That'd be super cool. Like Supercard's, next week in Philadelphia. It's kind of like they're, like around the same mesh as WrestleMania. But honestly, I think that would be super cool. I would love to see that. And I don't know, like tag team championships in any organization like WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's kind of hard to come by. So I don't know. Once we kind of have that partner, much like in life, like when you're getting married with somebody, you want to make sure you have someone you trust. You want to make sure you have someone who will always have your back. And I'm not turning this into like a marriage lesson by all means. You marry who you want to marry. Like, you know what I mean? If it's I don't know what type of people you're into, but let's just move on. Let's just move on. But anyways, this isn't a marriage counseling course. Although I think I'd be pretty good at it, to be honest. But, hey, what do you have to say? Oh, really? Oh, dude, she totally thinks you're a jerk, dude. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, like a tag team, you have to have trust with your partner, and I feel like these two individuals together, they're more than just two single stars. Like I was talking about with like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Finn Balor and Damian Priest winning tag team titles in their respective organizations. Like you kind of have these kind of guys coming together and winning something. So I think that's pretty cool. Um, so in that, lastly, I want to talk about the main event. You had Takashita and Swerve Strickland in a one-on-one match for the number one contendership for the AEW World Title. Samoa Joe was looking on, and he was very displeased to find out Swerve Strickland was able to pick up the victory and basically cement his name to the AEW Dynasty's main event. So that's going to be pretty cool. That's going to be pretty cool. Asking me who's going to win, that would be hard. Because Samoa Joe, he's just, in any organization he's ever been in, AEW, WWE, Impact, NXT, he's just, oh my God, like, you can't really bet against him. He's kind of like, comparing him to NFL, he's kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs, where you're like, oh, they're not doing so good this season like this season. Patrick Mahomes and his receivers, it looked like Kansas City Chiefs were kind of like dead in the water, and they weren't the same Super Bowl team they were a year ago. But they were able to pick it up. They were able to do what it took to win. And look who's back to back winners, the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think Samoa Joe is going to be fine. I think he'll probably end up beating Swerve Strickland. Although Swerve is he's on this destruction path where he just wants to beat up everything, beat up everyone, stand up for what's right, stand up for who's, representing AEW. But honestly, like I don't think he can really carry the company on his back. And I know that's bad. I'm not trying to talk crap on Swerve Strickland because I like him. He's pretty cool. He's entertaining as hell. He has chains around his neck, stuff like that. Like he looks like a beefed up version of like the Junkyard Dog. And I'm referencing the back in the WWE history, but I don't know. He's just I don't it's gonna be a really good match. It's gonna be a really good match. Him and Takeshita had a nice little 20-minute match. So, he has the endurance, he has the stamina, he has the agility, and he also has perseverance, all mixed up. That creates a title worthy match. Not a title worthy match, just in general. That creates kind of like just like a competitor that you can kind of, you know, I don't know, kind of build something off of, like a good match wise. But I don't know why I can't see him as AEW World Champion. maybe I'm a hater. Maybe I'm a hater. All your Swerve Strickland fans out there, write down in the tips and donations like how much you hate me. But I'm just kidding. Peace, love, and positivity, baby. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a good match, nevertheless. So, yeah. Um, anyways, looking toward the future, we have our Thursday night wrestling preview. Of course, that includes AEW recently did that. That includes Impact Wrestling along with Ring of Honor. So, hey, what can I say? But you're welcome. I'm just kidding. No, that was a rock reference. It's pretty badass. I love Moana. I have two daughters. I'm a huge Disney nerd. But you know what? I'm babbling on like an idiot. Let's just go on our first break.